If you're over 60 and still start your mornings with a familiar glass of milk, then please listen to what I'm about to say because it could change the way you live in the years to come. That very glass of milk might be silently weakening your body little by little. It's not because milk is bad, but because some types of milk simply aren't meant for a body that has entered a completely different biological phase. A phase that, if you don't fully understand and properly adjust to, could cost you dearly. Your health, your memory, your vitality, and the confidence that a man should rightfully carry for life. I am Doctor Authority. For over 20 years, I've listened to, advised, and walked alongside thousands of men entering middle age. Men who were once strong and steady, but one day began to feel like they were no longer the same. They came to me not just with clear symptoms like fatigue, trouble sleeping, and memory decline, but with things they couldn't quite put into words. The breathlessness during ordinary mornings, the emptiness when looking in the mirror and not seeing the man they once were, or the unease when they couldn't maintain the strength they were once so proud of. And the heartbreaking part is, most of them assumed it was just aging. But I tell them, and today I want to tell you, it's not entirely because of age. Sometimes the very things you believe are good for you are quietly making you weaker. And milk is one of them. We grew up with milk. Milk used to be a symbol of strength, the nourishment of childhood, the thing our parents trusted would help us grow up strong and healthy. But friend, your body today is no longer the body of a 15-year-old boy. It's not even the body of a vigorous 35-year-old man. It's the body of a 60, 65, or even 70-year-old man. A body going through profound changes in circulation, metabolism, hormones, and digestion. And that means, if you're still eating and drinking like you did at 30, you're putting your body into a hidden battle, one where you always come out the loser. I've seen many men proudly claim they eat healthy, only for us to discover during a checkup that the very glass of milk they drink every morning, the one they believe is delicious and nutritious, is actually clogging their arteries, disrupting their testosterone, spiking their insulin, and gradually building up visceral fat. These aren't things you feel right away. They come slowly, silently. They make you feel a little more tired each day, a little slower to react, a little fuzzier in memory, and your vitality almost gone. And then you start to think, maybe I'm just getting old. No, you're not just getting old. You're being made weaker by the wrong choices. But the good news is, with just one small change, changing the type of milk you use, you can begin to restore your body. I've seen men come back with brighter eyes, firmer voices, and an energetic step after just a few weeks of this change. No medication, no surgery, just choosing the right kind of nourishment, the kind that's right for a man's body after 60. And milk, if chosen wisely, can be just that kind of nourishment. So today I'm going to share with you not just knowledge, but a roadmap that shows you which 4 types of milk you must absolutely avoid after age 60 because they no longer suit your body, and which 4 types of milk you should choose instead to boost energy, improve memory, protect your heart, support digestion, and most importantly, help you keep what every man longs for: strength, self-mastery, and masculine vitality. Because in the end, living long isn't enough. You deserve to live well, live fully, and live with the presence of a man who knows his true worth. Starting your morning with a glass of milk can feel like a peaceful moment, but if it's the wrong kind, it can also be the start of a long string of days filled with lethargy, fatigue, and a gradual loss of confidence. Let's uncover a truth that has startled many over 60. 4 types of milk you believe are good, but are actually quietly ruining your health day by day. First is whole milk. Imagine this. Each night you lay a soft blanket over yourself, cozy and warm. Whole milk brings a similar feeling, smooth and full, but behind that is 4.5 grams of saturated fat per glass, a number that may seem small, but could be a sign of a much bigger paradox within your body: blood vessels slowly clogging. For a body over 60, the circulatory system isn't as efficient as before, and bad cholesterol gradually hardens the arteries, slowing blood flow. You might not see it immediately, but you'll feel it. Workouts get harder, your breath shortens, your memory slows down, and one day, you realize you no longer feel comfortable in your own bed the way you used to. The scariest part is thinking this is just aging, when in truth, it's the result of what you believed was a healthy habit: drinking milk. Second, sweetened condensed milk. Maybe you've enjoyed spoonfuls of condensed milk poured into a cup of coffee, each sweet drop soothing your soul. But 10 grams of sugar per spoon, and you don't stop at one. Those sweet spoons go directly into your system, second by second every single day. Sugar forces insulin into overdrive, exhausts your pancreas, builds visceral fat, and when that happens, your memory dulls, your mood flattens, and the thing men fear most, vitality, takes a hit in silence. Your mind fogs, your heart strains, and your confidence starts to fade. We're approaching an era where Alzheimer's is called diabetes of the brain, and that sweet cup might be pushing you closer. Third, rice milk. This is one few expect to be harmful. People say it's good for digestion, low fat, lactose-free. But in reality, rice milk carries a serious issue: poor nutrition. 1 cup of rice milk lacks enough protein to maintain the muscle you're already losing with age. Without protein, your muscles weaken, your joints stiffen. And a deeper concern, rice absorbs arsenic from the soil. Drinking rice milk each morning adds this toxin to your kidneys and liver, organs already under stress from aging. You won't run faster or react quicker. Instead, you'll suffer joint aches, nausea, and persistent fatigue. This isn't a scare tactic. It's a harsh reality. Fourth, and just as dangerous, flavored plant-based milk. These are top sellers, often marketed as low-fat, fortified, plant-based, healthy. But did you know that a cup of flavored nut milk, like chocolate or vanilla, can contain 10 to 15 grams of hidden sugar, plus foaming agents, stabilizers, artificial flavorings, and synthetic vitamins your body can't absorb? Your spine, your brain, your vitality, all impacted. You may not notice the sugar, but your body reacts with waves of fatigue and that persistent off feeling when you wake up. You're fueling a silent digestive battle, clogging your bloodstream, disrupting your hormones, and you wonder, am I just aging? But the truth is, if you keep drinking those sweetened milks, you're building a wall between yourself and the health you once had. These 4 types of milk: whole milk, sweetened condensed milk, rice milk, and flavored plant-based milk, aren't bad if you're still young, if your body still has resilience. But for those over 60, when circulation needs clarity, digestion needs simplicity, hormones need balance, and the mind needs sharpness, they become a burden that wears you down each day. So can you change? The answer is yes. Starting today, you can stop drinking those milks. You can choose to reclaim your strength. You can begin by reaching for a new kind of milk, one that protects your heart, supports your brain, reinforces your hormones, and you'll start to feel like you've taken back a part of the man you used to be. It all starts with awareness, with looking honestly at your habits and your daily choices, and with the courage to say, I won't accept becoming weak just because of my age. I've seen it. After cutting out the wrong milks, men come back stronger, with brighter eyes, clearer memory, and most of all, they tell me this: I want to live like a man who's worthy, not because of my age, but because of the values I still carry. When I tell my patients, you can start again, with just 1 glass of milk each morning, they laugh at first. But a few weeks later, their eyes look different. Their shoulders are straighter, their breasts deeper, and in their voices, a confidence they thought they had lost forever. Because the truth is, when you choose the right kind of milk for your biological age, you're not just drinking to live, you're drinking to live as your truest male self, strong, alert, and full of vitality. And now I want to show you 4 powerful types of milk, not just replacements, but upgrades. Choices that nourish not only the body, but also restore the sense of control a man over 60 deserves to own. First, fermented soy milk. This isn't the soy milk you've seen on supermarket shelves, sweet, watery, and lifeless. Fermented soy milk is an evolution where soy, a plant rich in isoflavones, is properly fermented into a nutrient that's not only easier to digest but also supports male hormones. Isoflavones were once misunderstood as feminizing, but recent studies show that when sourced and dosed correctly, they help balance hormones, reduce inflammation, protect the brain, and, most importantly, nourish testosterone naturally and safely. I had a patient named Hung, 68 years old, who once believed real men don't drink soy milk. But after 3 weeks of fermented soy milk each morning, along with a light diet, he told me, I didn't expect to feel like I'd been switched back on. A lightness in his gut, a clear mind, consistency, and most notably, emotional stability. That's what fermented soy milk brought him. A gentle, yet solid new beginning. Next, unsweetened almond milk. If you've thought of almonds as just a snack for the young, I want you to see them through the lens of someone protecting his heart. Almonds contain unsaturated fats, the kind your heart needs like a cooling oil to keep running smoothly. But more than that, almond milk is rich in vitamin E, an antioxidant proven to slow down neural degeneration, support memory, and reduce oxidative stress on the brain. I remember an elderly man who came in saying he often forgot his grandchild's name. But after 1 month of replacing condensed milk with unsweetened almond milk, along with some memory exercises, he told me, I don't just remember her name, I've started remembering old songs. And it brought him to tears, not just because he remembered, but because he felt truly alive again. Third, calcium-fortified oat milk. It may seem simple, light, naturally a bit sweet, but it's a silent weapon for rebuilding your bones, improving sleep, and lifting that morning heaviness. After age 60, bone density plummets without enough calcium and vitamin D. Calcium-fortified oat milk is an excellent choice. Lactose-free, easy on the stomach, yet loaded with needed calcium plus beta-glucan fiber that lowers cholesterol and supports gut health. Many of my patients have told me that after drinking oat milk at night for a while, they sleep better, wake up fewer times, and no longer start the day with sore knees or aching backs. It doesn't make you feel muscular instantly, but it strengthens your foundation day by day. And finally, flax milk, a name few know, yet a quiet warrior in fighting inflammation and restoring male vitality. Flax contains ALA omega-3, a powerful anti-inflammatory fatty acid. Chronic inflammation is what narrows your blood vessels, slows your brain, and disrupts male hormones. Flax milk calms that whole system. It's not sweet, not bold, but within its subtle taste is a total transformation. I once had a patient named Tuan, 72 years old, who thought he had to accept declining vitality. But after using flax milk along with dietary adjustments, he returned 6 weeks later and smiled. I didn't expect to still be able to run. What touched me wasn't just his words. It was his wife's eyes at that moment, eyes filled with gratitude and renewed hope. These 4 types of milk, they're not just for replacing old habits, but for upgrading your life. They're not just nutrition, they're a statement that says, I deserve to be stronger, I deserve to be sharper, I deserve to take control of my life, even after 60. It starts with just 1 glass of milk each morning, one right choice, one gentle action, yet full of power, because it's not pills or surgery, but your will to change that is the strongest medicine you can give your body. And if you've read this far, if you're holding a glass of milk and asking yourself, is this helping me or silently weakening me? Then you're ready. Choose the kind of milk that brings true value. Let your body know you're on its side. And I promise, you'll feel the difference not just in your body, but in the way you see yourself again. Not as someone growing old, but as someone returning to his strongest, truest self. There's one thing I've always deeply believed. Age doesn't define your worth. It's how you face your age that truly shapes who you are. You might be 60, 65, or 70 years old, but if you're still breathing, still thinking, still caring about your health, then you still have a choice. And that choice is the most powerful weapon a seasoned man can ever possess. I know some may be thinking, it's just milk, how can it change my life? But let me tell you this, big changes begin with something small. 1 glass of milk consumed every day could silently be the root of harm that's built up over decades. But that same glass of milk, when replaced with a wiser choice, could also be the beginning of an entirely new life. You don't need to wait for the hospital to call or for your dining table to be covered in pills. You can choose to change, and you can do it starting tomorrow morning. You can begin by looking inside your fridge. The milk you're drinking, is it nourishing you or draining your life energy? If the answer isn't clear, then give yourself permission to try a new option. Not for anyone else, but for you. For the wife who's still by your side. For the grandchild still waiting for grandpa to drive them out to play. For the body that has loyally carried you for decades, now asking you to care for it with knowledge, responsibility, and self-love. Don't let anyone tell you, you're old already. What's the point of changing? I've seen hundreds of men, from the tired, achy, sleepless ones, to those who felt they'd lost every ounce of energy, rise up, change from the smallest habits, and gradually return to a life full of vitality. Not because they got younger, but because they chose to live better. A man over 60 doesn't need to be a superhero. He doesn't need to run marathons or lift 200-pound weights. But he does need clarity. He needs strength. He needs to be the kind of man who understands what his body needs and acts before it's too late. And sometimes that action is as simple as changing a type of milk. If you've ever felt tired after breakfast, if you felt yourself slowing down, dragging, your memory fuzzy, your spirit low, then consider this a gentle wake-up call from a doctor who's seen thousands of such cases and who has also seen thousands of turnarounds. You're not alone. You're not weak. You simply need to reconnect with the strength within you, the kind that age can never take away. And if after everything you feel ready, just type in the comments, I choose to change. It's a small sentence, but it could mark the beginning of a brand new chapter in your life. I'm not here to preach. I'm here to walk alongside you. I don't believe in miracles. I believe in men who face reality, who let go of old habits, and who dare to choose a new path. Each morning when you raise that glass of milk, remember it's not just a drink, it's a life choice. And if today you choose right, I truly believe the days ahead, whether at 70, 75, or beyond, won't just be days to get through, but days that are meaningful, full of life, lived in the true spirit of a man. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this journey. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, and for being willing to change. And if you feel this message isn't just for you, share it with your father, your uncle, or your closest friend. You might just open a new chapter, not only for yourself, but for another man as well. And if you feel this message is worth it, leave a like, a share, or simply a note that says, I'm coming back to life. Because I believe after 60, we don't just need to live longer. We need to live stronger. There are things in life we continue doing out of habit, believing they're safe, familiar, and harmless. A glass of milk in the morning, for instance, long seen as a symbol of care, health, and a wholesome lifestyle. But if we don't fully understand how our bodies have changed after age 60, even that simple habit can quietly become a health thief without us ever realizing it. The most important lesson from today's journey is this: everything we put into our bodies, no matter how familiar, needs to be reevaluated as we age. Nothing is forever safe if our body is no longer what it once was. After 60, our circulation slows, hormones decline, digestion becomes more sensitive, and because of that, we need new, wiser choices that match this new chapter of life. But the second lesson is even more crucial. Age doesn't take away your power to choose. You can't turn back time, but you can choose how you live the rest of your life, and that starts with the smallest actions. Switching to a better kind of milk, adjusting a meal, going to bed a little earlier, doing light exercise each morning. These small changes, compounded daily, are more powerful than any expensive medication because they don't just change your body, they change how you feel about yourself. And finally, the most beautiful lesson, we still have the chance to live with strength, intention, and meaning at any age. You no longer have to simply exist. You deserve to live in a way that feels worth living, full of energy, mental clarity, and confidence in your roles as husband, father, and grandfather. I'm not asking you to transform your life in one day. I'm simply inviting you to start with the right glass of milk, as a symbol that you are choosing to take care of yourself again, with knowledge, responsibility, and self-respect. Look back on today and ask yourself, is my body being nourished or is it just being treated out of old habit? If that question makes you pause, that's a good sign. It means you're waking up. And from that moment on, you can begin again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be heading in the right direction and stay the course.